Hello, Year 2. We've got a science lesson for you today, and we're going to be looking at our unit of animals, including humans. So today we're looking at animals and their offspring. So before we start, I just want to go through some of your learning that you may have come across in Year 1. So I'm going to go through some of these slides, and I've got a collection of animals that are all in the same group. Can you tell me what we call this group of animals? And maybe as a little challenge, you could hopefully tell me how you know that they are this specific type of animal. Have you had a guess? Well done if you said that these animals are birds. And we can tell that because of things like their feathers, they have wings, they have beaks, and they have 2 legs with claws on the end. What do we call this group of animals? And think about why. What do you notice about these animals? Maybe think about their skin. Well done if you said that these animals are reptiles. And we can tell because they have scaly skin and also things like that long tongue is quite a distinctive characteristic of reptiles as well. What do we call this group of animals and how do you know? Well done if you said that these animals are fish, and you might have said you know that they're fish because they live in the water, they breathe through their gills as well, and they have scales for the most part. So obviously some fish don't have scales, but most fish do have scales. What do we call this group of animals? Quite varied, this one. Well done if you said that these animals are all mammals. So mammals are animals that give birth to live young. They don't lay eggs, and more often than not, they usually have hair or fur, and that is what makes a mammal a mammal. And I think this might be our final one. What do we call this group of animals here? Well done if you said that they are amphibians. So amphibians are animals that have kind of like a slimy skin, and they live both in and out of the water, but it's usually around water because they live in and out of it. So they do need the water to live, but they don't need to be in the water all the time. Okay, so all living things do certain things to stay alive, and these things are called life processes. Now, plants do these things in different ways to animals and humans, but they still do them. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail on this because we're going to have a look at this in a few weeks' time. But what we're going to focus on today is this one here, reproduction. So all living things reproduce. That means that they can make a new living thing of the same kind. So plants reproduce by bearing seeds that grow into new plants, and humans and other animals reproduce by having babies. And that might be through giving birth, or that might be through laying an egg, for example, like some animals do. So some animal babies look just like their grown-ups but smaller, and some animal babies look very different. So today we're going to be learning about some different kinds of animal babies and how they change as they grow. So what have we got here? What type of animals are these? Think back to those animal classes that we've just been talking about. Which ones are these? Lovely, they are mammals. Well done. So these animal babies are mammals. Do you know what we might call these? So I'm sure that you're saying that you know this is a tiger and this is an elephant, but Do you know what we call the baby version of that animal? Let's have a look then. So a puppy is a baby dog, a kitten is a baby cat, a foal is a baby horse, a baby tiger is called a cub, and a baby elephant is called a calf. Now, baby mammals have lots and lots of different names. This isn't covering all of them, but this is just covering a few. Like we said, we've got calf, foal, cub, puppy, kitten, lots of different names depending on what the mammal is. These animals are mammals. They grow inside their mother's womb, which is inside their their tummy. When they are born, they look quite like their parents, but they just look like a smaller version. So mammals always look like a smaller version of their parents. Their mothers feed them with milk and take care of them as they grow. Their bodies grow bigger and stronger until eventually they are able to take care of themselves. So you can see some examples here. The womb is inside the belly area, and all these animal babies look just like their parents, but they're just a smaller version. What animals are these then? They are all baby. Well done if you said they're all baby birds. Do you know what we call some of these baby birds? And what kind of birds do you think they might grow up to be? Let's have a look then. So many baby birds are called chicks. So these chicks here will grow up to be chickens, so they're baby chickens. And these baby chicks will grow up to be penguins. Baby ducks are called ducklings. A baby owl is called an owlet, and a baby goose is called a gosling. Many birds lay eggs, and after they've laid their eggs, they sit on them to keep them warm until the eggs are ready to hatch. Baby birds are tiny, blind, and weak when they first hatch, and their parents keep them safe and bring them food. So quite often, the mum or the dad bird has to fly off, get food, and bring it back to feed their baby chicks. The chicks grow bigger and stronger and grow thick feathers. They don't really have feathers as soon as they're born. They're kind of a bit fluffy, and sometimes they could be bald. The chicks grow bigger and stronger and grow thick feathers. Soon they are able to fly away and have babies of their own. So this is a picture of a baby chick inside an egg. You can see here, one's just hatched. Birds living in nests. And this parent bird here, this adult bird, is feeding its baby chick. So what are these animal babies? Think back to those animal classes that we talked about. These are all baby amphibians. Do you know what they are called? And do you think you know what they might grow up to be? Let's have a look then. So baby amphibians are called tadpoles. So I know we've been learning about tadpoles in our story, The Tadpole's Promise, but not just baby frogs are called tadpoles, but all baby amphibians. So most frogs, toads, newts, and salamanders, and I know we've done that in one of our stories, start their lives as tadpoles. There you go. So toads, newts, salamanders, and frogs start their lives as tadpoles. Most amphibians lay eggs in the water. These eggs are called a spawn. When they hatch, the tiny tadpoles live in the water. They eventually grow legs, and finally their tails fall off and they are able to climb out of the water. And I know that you already know all that because you've been writing some lovely information booklets all about the life cycle of frogs. So there we go, we've got the spawn, and then when it hatches, it becomes a tadpole, and then we've got what we've been calling a froglet, and then it obviously grows up into a frog if it is a frog tadpole. What are these animal babies? They are all baby. Which group of animals are they? Well done if you said that they are all baby reptiles. Do you know what they are called? And do you know what animals they will grow up to be? So baby reptiles are called hatchlings. So this is a baby snake, this is a baby crocodile, this is a baby lizard, and this is a baby turtle. Most reptiles are born from eggs, although some are not. Reptile hatchlings look like their parents. So basically they are, most reptiles will lay an egg, but when that egg hatches, the baby that comes out of that egg will look like its parent. So it's not like, for example, a tadpole that looks very, very different to its parent until it grows up. It will look like a smaller version of its parent when it hatches from its egg. Usually, reptile mothers do not look after their babies. Their babies have to take care of themselves as they grow. So here's an example of a baby lizard inside its egg, and you can see here we've got a snake with its eggs. I think we've got a turtle here, some lizards. And what do we have here? These are all baby. Well done if you said they are baby fish. Do you know what animals they are specifically? And do you know what they are called? Well, let's have a look. This is a baby seahorse. It is called a fry. And this is a baby fish. And it's also called a fry. Now this is a baby stingray. Now this made my day because I thought it was so cute. This is a baby stingray, and a baby stingray is called a pup. And very similarly, this is a baby shark, and it is also called a pup. Most fish lay eggs in clusters, like in the pictures above. However, some fish, such as sharks, stingrays, and seahorses, they look after their eggs inside their bodies until the egg hatches there, and then they will give birth to live young. So this is what's called a mermaid's purse. So some sharks lay eggs that look like this. Some stingrays lay eggs that look like this. But many sharks give birth to a baby shark that looks just like them. So your activity for today then, you have got some pictures here, and these pictures are of adult animals and their young. So what your job is to do is to match the young animal to the adult animal. You've got a column here for the young and a column here for the adult. So if you're doing this by downloading the sheet from the website, you can click on the picture and drag it into the column, or you might want to just write your own table out on a sheet of paper and just write the name of the animal. You might want to number the pictures 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and write numbers that match and correlate with each other. Or if you're collecting work packs, or if you're printing the worksheets off, you can cut and stick them in the matching column. So the 1-star challenge is for you to match the animals, young and adult together. The 2-star challenge is for you to match the young and the adult, just like this one. But then you've also got this extra column that says how it changed. Now, what you need to do is just write a brief description of how that animal has changed. So, for example, if we take the tadpole as the example, because we've been learning lots about it, we would find the tadpole, stick it in young, we would find the adult, which in this case is a toad, stick it in the adult box, and then we'll write how it changes. Well, it loses its tail, it grows legs. Those are things that we could write in how it changed. Okay, so just think, use the pictures to help you try to notice things about how the animal changes from the point where it is born to when it grows into an adult. And then finally, we've got a little extension activity here, which is egg or not. So you've got lots of pictures, and all you need to do is sort the animals into whether or not they lay eggs. Okay, so think back to those animal groups that we talked about. Which ones, because it was a couple, which ones of those groups laid eggs and which ones did not? So that's your next job here. Well done, everybody. We'll see you next week for another science lesson. Bye.